Hey, you might want to put on a helmet so it don't make a mess when I blow your mind.
Hey, how you doing today? Name's Gabrielle, so make a move out the way. Hey, who you trying to be? I can barely walk straight, so don't follow me.
The finest insanity on your radio dial. The Flipside Radio Show.
Hit me.
This is The Flipside. It's a podcast. It used to be a radio show, but now we're just doing it because we can. And for crying out loud, we enjoy talking about some of the crazy things that just happen in life. I'm JD.
I'm Ryan.
And you can follow me on Twitter at TheMediaJack.
And at RyanMiles66.
And first of all, I mean, let's talk about the elephant in the room.
It is weird doing it in my basement. I'm not even wearing socks. I think that's a first.
And then to add to the weirdness, my bedroom's right over there. Because, wow, my... Things happened. Mm-hmm. I don't want to get into detail, but let's just put things basically. Myself and the girlfriend didn't see eye to eye anymore, and things kind of just exploded from there, and I needed a place to live in a hurry.
And I'm a hell of a guy.
You are a hell of a guy.
So here we are, live from my basement.
Yes.
Recorded live. Recorded live at one point.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, of course, I appreciate it so much. And I think what's really making this work so far, if I can be so bold to say it, is the fact that, you and I have basically lived together before. Out in Grand Prairie, and also like being on the road, because being in the oil field, just you got to make do with what you got and who you're with, right?
Yeah, you just learn to kind of stick to your own space and do your own thing, and that kind of works out for everybody. Clean
up after yourself, and from prior experiences, I don't know how to whistle, so I know that's a
perfect.
Yeah, that's a giant pet peeve.
Nobody likes a whistler in the house.
Yeah. It was weird because, we lived in a crew house, and we had majority of the people in the crew house were from our specific division, but there was one guy who wasn't in our specific division, same company, but he seemed to be the biggest pain in the ass.
Just all kinds of noise and not really aware of how to share space with people, I guess.
No.
Must be an only child.
Maybe, or a spoiled one at that.
Perhaps.
You know what? Might as well jump into it from there. Speaking of spoiled child, Johnny Football. Have you heard about him lately?
No.
No?
Nothing.
He's doing his best to make his way into the CFL.
Oh, that. Yeah, I heard about that a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
That it's a possibility, and then never really heard anything beyond that.
I think he's just going to continue to fail. Quite frankly, he has the skill to be a great quarterback and a great team player, but I think his ego and his party lifestyle just keep
terrible person.
Yeah, he just keeps getting in the way.
Mm-hmm.
So, I remember when he was drafted number 1 overall, was he not?
Sure. Something like that.
Yeah, right up at the top. And
highly touted.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he was drafted to the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then things just started falling off from there.
Yeah, I mean, rich kid came up, doing his thing, being great at what he does, but partying, I think, runs in his blood, from what I gather. Mm-hmm. And staying true to his roots, he partied his way right out of the NFL.
I think he was on your Deadpool a year or 2 years ago as well.
Last year, yeah.
Yeah.
He was the wild card that I thought. There was a few times where I might have had a shot. Every time I saw his name trending on Twitter, I thought this could be it. I won anyways.
Yes, you did.
Without
Johnny's help.
Losing, once again. Johnny Football doesn't help anybody win.
Yeah. So I just thought it was entertaining because, I really didn't pay attention to the draft, but I like playing Madden football on the PlayStation 4. And he was one of the highly touted, very rare football rookie cards that came up in Madden Ultimate Team. And now he's just all but a memory. for the entire game, really.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Since you brought it up, I've been trying to remember what his real last name is, and it's
Manziel.
Manziel, right? Yeah. I knew it was because I used for our football pool through the pub.
Yeah.
My team name was Johnny Mangina. So I knew it was close to that, but I knew that wasn't right.
Yeah. No, but damn close, gotta say. Just a weird little side note on that. But we can continue on with football. I mean, it's been a couple of weeks, but the Super Bowl, we had the New England Patriots versus the Atlanta Falcons, and at the half, Atlanta was up 21-9, and they even got another touchdown on top of that, making it 28-9, I believe, at one point in time.
Mm-hmm.
And anyone who was watching the game at the halfway point, before or during Lady Gaga's incredible and very actually surprisingly wonderful performance, would have thought that the Atlanta Falcons had a lock. And even a lot of people in the stadium at the football game, at the Super Bowl, left halfway through the game.
Which I'd never understood. Even if you pay $4 for right field bleacher seats, I'm not going to be leaving the game early. But you pay thousands of dollars for the Super Bowl seats, and what you pay to get yourself there to watch the game and all the events and whatever else you do Super Bowl week, because it's not just a day, it's a whole week-long event. And then to leave halfway through the game when you have one of the greatest quarterbacks in a big game situation ever, on the trailing end. I thought, maybe there wasn't much left of a game, but I still stuck it out. I wanted to make sure that those snacks didn't go unsnacked upon.
Priorities.
I still had beer left over. My wife was driving home, so I wanted to make sure my beers were gone. Stick around, enjoy it. Yeah. And I'm glad I did, because it was quite an interesting game.
There was actually quite a few celebrities that got flack for leaving early from that game. One of them was Mark Wahlberg. Like, he was seen in the stands and cheering on the New England Patriots and having a good time.
The Boston guy had no faith in God Brady.
Yeah, exactly. But when they went to go find him during the third and fourth quarter, he wasn't there. And he was actually responding on Twitter, going like, "I can't believe I'm missing the game. I left early. What? I'm an idiot." Blah blah blah. And so many other celebrities and people were just the same way. I was here watching the game, and I wanted to see if Atlanta could hold on, but my goodness, they couldn't. It went into overtime for the first time in NFL Super Bowl history.
That I found strange. Of 51 years of Super Bowl, I thought there would have been, or 50 years before that, I thought there would have been at least one overtime game.
Yeah.
I think, though, there were a couple historic things. One of the biggest comeback in Super Bowl history, I think, was no more than 10 points beforehand, if I remember right.
I think so.
Yeah, so to be down 19 and come back, after in the third quarter, they were down 19.
Yeah.
That was quite the charge.
It was, and it wasn't solely all on New England either. It was like, because Atlanta, they had a penalty, and then I believe there was was there? I'm testing my memory here, because there was three key things that Atlanta did wrong that just gave New England the steam to just plow right over them and push on towards like I said, the first ever Super Bowl overtime quarter, which
I think there were some bad play call decisions on offense, paired up with a couple of penalties along the way.
Yeah,
that just started the spiral.
Yeah,
and Brady saw an opening and took over the game.
And luck of the coin in the overtime, New England got the coin toss. They said they're going to receive the ball, and they charged it into the end zone for the touchdown. And as soon as that happened, like I couldn't help myself. I had to think, what's Marshawn Lynch doing right now? And lo and behold, he's on Twitter going like, yeah, see, now I understand why they didn't let me run the ball. I'm sure that was in sarcasm, but still, it was an incredible game.
It was, yeah. It was after that first touchdown to start the comeback. I thought, well, it could be interesting. And then they got the 2-point conversion.
Mm-hmm.
At which point I'm thinking, you know what? I'm going to stick around and see what happens.
And then they did it again.
And then it just seemed like they were running drills on a practice squad. Like Atlanta wasn't even slowing them down.
No. Yeah, that's right. 2 consecutive touchdowns with 2 consecutive 2-point conversions. Mm-hmm. Just absolutely stunning.
Yeah, it was something to see.
Yeah. Now, everyone, like Lady Gaga, I'm not really a fan. And quite frankly, she went out there and played it safe, at least for her song list. No new music, a lot of really well-known hits, like things that put her on the charts. She did this rope wire dive from the top of the stadium, and that was also like a first. Also, they had the drones in the sky to make it look like a waving American flag, and there's actually even like a video and a documentary about how they put that together, and that's incredible too. Mm-hmm. But it's weird because as surprisingly wonderful of a performance Lady Gaga put on, people were giving her flack for like, oh, look at her tummy, she looks overweight, why are we seeing this midriff? It's not a midriff, it's a full drift. Are you fucking kidding me with this? She puts on one hell of a show, and I might point out, no one has ever gotten financially compensated for performing during a Super Bowl halftime show. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of gifts and bonuses and whatever, but there is no paycheck for the halftime show.
No, you do it, and I'm going to cheese dick it up here. You do it for the fame,
exactly,
and all the eyes on you, and just to perform because you like performing in front of the world, essentially. And I think that it was smart to go with the hits. I mean, you're at the Super Bowl, you play the hits.
Yeah.
That's pretty simple that way.
It's not a time to try out new music.
No, not at all. And people that are complaining about her belly, there was nothing. I didn't notice anything.
Me neither.
I mean, Mariah Carey did New Year's Rockin' Eve.
Oh.
So what did these same people have to say about her? And her appearance physically and performance-wise.
And mentally.
And yeah, she hasn't been there for a while, I think.
No, God, no.
Like, that's nothing new and nothing really surprising. But back to Lady Gaga, it was good. Like, I mean, there's a lot of people, it doesn't matter. She could have done the greatest show in the history of shows, and people are still going to shit on her for something.
Yeah, and that's the dangerous thing about social media. I mean, you have your social media, and like I'm all over it. It's kind of part of the daytime job, right? I have Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and Snapchat and YouTube and like the different podcasting and streaming accounts that I have too. Like, I utilize it as a tool. It's something to work towards, and I try to keep the social commentary down. But other people, like I firmly believe that there's people out there who do not need or deserve to have any sort of like a Twitter account or even Facebook, because for crying out loud, like keep the smart ass remarks and the politics, well, the stupid politics, I should say, off of the damn thing, because one, you're just making things worse, you're trolling, and two, you're just making yourself look so ridiculously stupid when you get caught in a bullshit.
And they're the same kind of people where you see them in real life and say, oh, nice day today. And they're like, yeah, but it's too warm. Or, yeah, it is, but then all these fat chicks are showing too much. Like, it's the same people are saying this kind of thing. And sorry if it comes across as a little blunt using the fat chicks example. Like
it's bad.
These same kind of people are saying the same kind of things in real life. They just have a bigger audience now.
Yeah, and that's the scary part. So, yeah, you're right. I saw no problem with Lady Gaga, and like I said, like I'm not even a fan of the chick, but I thought she did a great job. So, like, kudos to her. And for all these people to be like, oh, but, her belly, like, really?
Maybe turn the phone around and take a selfie and see how much better you look.
Yeah, it's one of those honest selfies.
It's, yeah. Glass houses, throwing stones.
Exactly.
You're an idiot.
So we'll launch off of this straight over to one of the most prolific Twitter users in this day and age. President of the United States, Donald Shit Pimp Trump, as Adam Susser likes to refer to him as. He refuses to use the official POTUS Twitter account. In fact, he still uses his very own unsecure Twitter account, Real Donald Trump. And he's made the announcement that all official White House announcements and policy changes, anything like that, will be brought to the public through his Twitter account. And he's constantly on this damn thing. Like, you have to think that the Secret Service are doing their best to chase him down just to shut him up every once in a while, because too many times he's put his own foot in his mouth just by being him.
If all that was on that account were the official announcements and official President of the United States business, that would be fine.
But it's not.
If you're going to use that as your official business announcement tool or vehicle, if you will, that would be fine. But to have all of your official presidential business mixed in with calling Rosie O'Donnell a twat, I don't know if he still does that. I don't know. They may be cool. I don't know. But that kind of thing that he does, like, maybe you might want to, because you can switch accounts on your phone. I don't know if he's aware of this. Or you can actually have the president's account and your stupid account on the same, you just change between both.
Yeah, well, I can do that on my phone right now. I can flip between the radio station I work for, my own TheMediaJack, as well as the Flipsider's Twitter account. And like, with it literally takes me like 2 pushes to a screen on the Twitter account app, and I'm done. I'm flip. I'm 2 different accounts on Twitter, and that's a great idea. Just recently, he likes to call out like Fox News and CNN and whatever for being fake news, and so he said, he came down recently on those 2, as well as another news outlet, saying that they're fake news about reporting this about a senator who is now stepping down. But then he kind of put his own foot in his mouth by not moments later coming out and saying that this news organization and this news organization, how dare they to report on these leaks, referring to what he referred, or talking about what he referred to just moments prior, fake news. It can't be both.
It's either a leak or it's fake news.
Yeah. If it's fake news, it's a lie. If it's a leak, then that means there's the truth.
Something to it. They may have exaggerated a bit of it.
Maybe.
Perhaps, I don't know, but it's, you're right. It's one or the other. It's either fake or it's not supposed to be out there. Yeah. And while I'm thinking of it, was he one of the ones that was tweeting about Lady Gaga's gut hanging out?
I don't know.
It wouldn't surprise me. Because he comes from a Miss Universe USA or whatever it was he used to run pageant.
That's right, Mrs. USA. I think
not Miss America, the official one, like the WCW of the Miss pageants.
It's a good reference. I do know that he was watching a football game because Tom Brady got flack for supporting Donald Trump, and so Donald Trump turned around and returned the favor by showing support for the New England Patriots. So I know he was paying attention, but my God, I can't spend my time following Donald Trump all the time because he's all over the place. Like I just rather rely on other media and news sources out there to tell me like, oh, Donald Trump's done this again, or oh, Donald Trump's actually making headway here. One thing's for sure is that he's actually making it very, very interesting for people in the United States because they are literally fleeing the States to come to Canada, like walking the border. Mm-hmm. It was just recently, a couple days, like it was Thursday, a story broke on CBC about a guy who went from, what was it, Minnesota to Manitoba, 21 hours on foot in the middle of rather cold weather, at least out in Manitoba. And there's no mountains, there's no valleys, there's no hills, nothing like that, like in British Columbia.
In the winter.
In the winter, yeah. And 21 hours on foot and just went north and didn't even know that he reached Canada until the RCMP showed up. And even still, he was questioning them all, like repeatedly, are you American? Are you American? And they're like, no, we're RCMP, we're Canadian, relax, you're not in the States.
The C stands for Canadian, dickhead.
But now, like, if it wasn't already before, it seems as though the floodgates have opened up because now there are like people coming across the border from the United States to Canada, afraid of what's going on in the United States because of Donald Trump, just walking the border and trying their best to claim refugee status. And it's like, I don't know. To me, that's unheard of.
Yeah, like for centuries of people trying to go to America, mm-hmm. the land of opportunity, to make a new life and, better their situation. And now everyone's trying to, not everyone, some people, trying to run away. Mm. There's a lot, if you Google search crossing the Canadian border, a lot of questions come up about how to do it.
Is that, yeah.
What do you need to get into Canada?
How much can you bring back from the United States to Canada? Do you need a passport to go from U.S. to Canada? Can you take alcohol into Canada?
No, we're a dry state. Jesus.
But crossing the Canadian border, going to news, fleeing the north, why asylum seekers are crossing the U.S.-Canada border. It's all over the news, CTV, Globe and Mail, Global News, CBC, everywhere. And it just seems like this one first man, the Somalian, who spent 21 hours trying to get from Minnesota to Manitoba, has pretty much put a spotlight on the entire situation of people just not feeling safe in the States anymore.
And that story actually makes me think, like, is it all kinds of Americans, or is it like recently immigrated into America that may be impacted by the kind of white supremacist travel ban that they're putting on? I think it does have more to do with the Muslim travel ban.
I think so.
So you're not going to see Jim Bob from Alabama trying to get across the Canadian border on foot. Because that's my president. But you will see this fellow.
Yeah.
As well others as, like him.
And look at this. This is a recent picture of the RCMP helping this simple family who crossed the American-Canadian border on foot. And it's winter. It's Canada. There's snow on the ground. And just kind of helping them along. And this photo was taken yesterday. Mm-hmm. So it's just a constant thing. That's just... yeah.
Yeah. So these people maybe just made a poor choice in trying to seek refuge in the States to begin with. Mm. And could have just cut out the middleman and came straight to Canada.
Can they?
Because it sounds like we'll let them in from anywhere.
What's the risk? Asylum seekers are often ill-prepared for the freezing winter weather and they experience during their trips north. 2 Galilean men who illegally entered Manitoba in December, for example, lost parts of their hands to the extreme frostbite they suffered during their journey. Once in Canada, moreover, there is no firm guarantees that refugees' claims will be accepted. They're literally throwing everything, like caution to the wind, to get over here, to get out of the States.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, like the article says, there's no guarantee you're going to be accepted as a refugee. Like you're detained until your criminal record check goes through. And knowing, my experience at the airport, being a Canadian with no criminal record check, like that can take a long frickin' time.
It can, very much so. And even like to getting your passport or going through a screening process or just a simple questioning, like if there's already a language barrier, that's a problem. Now, like you're crossing the border and you're not prepared, you don't have proper winter gear, you got frostbite. Now you got to be in the hospital, and it's adding to the process. We shall see what happens. I'm still saying, like, it's a conversation that constantly comes up between you and I and other people, that I think for the first time in our generation, we might actually see a Canadian or American president get impeached.
Possibly, but I think all he's doing, well, not all he's doing. I was going to say all he's doing is saying things, but I guess that executive order, the second he sat down at his desk, maybe is doing something. Shooting from the hip, but he's got to do something that's within the guidelines of impeachability. And I don't know if maybe he's, just dumb enough to be dangerous or just smart enough to where he can squeak through everything he wants to squeak through and still tiptoe the line where he still holds his office. Like he's, I believe, smarter than people give him credit for, but not as smart as he thinks he is.
Well, there's no way someone could be that successful by falling ass backwards into money, right? At least you...
you have to know something about something.
Yeah.
So,
time will tell. I'm still saying that he's... Like, I'd be very surprised if he makes it 4 years, and I'd be extremely surprised if he goes 2 terms.
Well, they did, I guess, on paper, vote for Bush twice.
On paper. This is a story that came up a little while ago, and they kind of came out grandstanded it and said, we're doing this, and yay, we can all celebrate, and we're making it a family oriented. Hooters is the big company. Hooters is actually going to start to open up restaurants that are family friendly and call them Hoots. And as soon as I heard this story, I already just saw red flags all over the place. Now, the reason why is because, a little bit of background, in 2010, the president and CEO, Kobe Brooks, was on an episode of Undercover Boss, and he was at that point in time the president and CEO of Hooters. And they went through the entire undercover boss thing, and he worked as like a dish boy and a server. Well, not a server because they're all women, but a dish boy, and then a cook, and a few other like non-managerial positions as they do in Undercover Boss. And he came out the other end of this episode firing one of the managers for being unruly and disrespectful to the staff. And he was appalled at how people viewed Hooters. And one of his quotes was that he wanted the place, Hooters, as a company, to feel comfortable and feel safe enough for his own daughters to work at Hooters. Now they're going to come out and try to create a family restaurant where they have male and female server staff. They won't be scantily clad or in tight fit clothing. And it doesn't make sense. Like, I thought his statement in Undercover Boss was already, well, this is a family restaurant.
Hoots, I think, is going to drag the whole franchise down. If you own stock at Hooters, you might want to sell it now. There are plenty of people already going to this restaurant. With anytime I've ever been to a Hooters, kids, 12 to 17-year-old kids beg their parents when they go to a town that has a Hooters, let's go to Hooters, because that is, the closest they're going to come to whatever that type of place, until they turn whatever age you need to be, 21 in the States.
Yeah.
19
in Canada.
Here.
Yeah.
And not every city has a Hooters, so it's kind of a thing that guys, I know when we were playing hockey and baseball, it was a place that we try and hit up every now and then when we went down to the coast.
Mm-hmm. There used to be one in Guildford.
I think we've been to that one.
Yeah, and I know there's one in the middle of Vancouver right off of Broadway.
Mm-hmm.
It's like on the second story of a building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, we'd try to go to these places, as kids. And even when we went to California this year, the only restaurant that was open near the Angels Stadium in Anaheim when we showed up hours early for the game was Hooters. So we went and took the wives and
off you went.
And had lunch at Hooters. And it wasn't like, the food's not incredible, but it's not, it's edible.
Yeah.
So it's just like any other pub, really, except it's an all ages pub, like a family friendly pub, basically. And I don't think that they need hoots. That's got bad idea written all over it.
Yeah, and
you want hoots? Go to Denny's. You want pretty shitty food where the waitresses are not wearing revealing clothing? Go to Denny's.
As they say, you don't go to Denny's, you end up at Denny's. A little bit of backstory about Colby Brooks, the guy who was in that Undercover Boss episode, was he is the son of the original founder of Hooters, the original founder being Robert H. Brooks. Now, Colby stepped down shortly after the episode aired of Undercover Boss. He actually stepped down in 2012, it looks like, but then started another franchise called of the restaurant chain and called it Twin Peaks. Now, that happened in 2013, and Twin Peaks is now starting to grow in...
I think it's better.
Have you been to Twin Peaks?
I have. The food was actually pretty decent. I went in Texas and we walked past one slowly in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
When we went, the food was pretty good. The uniforms are better.
How so?
They got like little lumberjack shirts kind of tied up, and the short shorts, like jean shorts.
Oh.
I'm sure you could find Twin Peaks on your internet machine there.
Sure.
But it was just the atmosphere was a little better. It just seemed like a better place.
Twin Peaks restaurant.
And there's one other, that's the uniform.
All right, so, okay.
Better.
Now, yes, better. Yeah. Better in many ways, but it's still along the same lines of what Hooters is. Some would actually argue that this is worse. Just on the statement that during that episode of Undercover Boss, the man who now is the CEO of Twin Peaks said that he thought and hoped that Hooters was a place that he could be proud that his daughters would work. Now, yeah.
Which maybe it wasn't necessarily the dress that he was talking about in that situation. Maybe he was saying the people, because he let go of a manager that sounded like he was an asshole.
Yeah.
Maybe that was more of what his disappointment was.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, since Hooters has been around whenever it started, they've dressed in the same short orange shorts and tight white shirts with the owl's eyes that look like breasts.
I guess. Yeah. They're certainly a cylinder. Hooters was founded back in 1983.
83, yeah. So it shouldn't be news the way that people dress that work in these places.
This is true.
But I think maybe just being disappointed by the people that were working for him was the issue. Maybe.
I agree. Just on the wrap up this whole Hoots idea, I think it's a bad idea. Honestly, Hooters and Twin Peaks that you were lucky enough to go to, I mean, I'm going to say rather successful businesses. They don't, like, what little information I was able to dig up on them, they don't show like they're losing profit. They don't show that they're going down in demand. I mean, yeah, with fluctuations in the marketplace as well as the dollar and whatever. I mean, places shut down and places grow. That goes without saying. But Hooters and Twin Peaks are still reputable and great companies to, sink your money into. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, what is the point of opening up a family restaurant? What is the point of opening up a spin-off, as it were, from something that is already a success?
Exactly.
Who knows?
And making it less of what it is.
Yeah.
Like the Cleveland show.
He was a character. And how long did that go? Like 2, maybe 3 seasons?
3, I believe.
Yeah.
It was good enough, but it wasn't. There's not enough of a character.
No.
To make the Cleveland show work long term.
Yeah.
Just like there's not enough on the menu to make Hoots work long term.
Honestly, the only times, like, I can remember, the rare times I had a chance to go to Hooters, which of course was only in Vancouver, all I would ever get really is like the buffalo chicken burger, and you can't mess that up. Like,
it's
unless
tough.
It's
tough to mess up.
It's really difficult to mess that up. And I went to one restaurant that messed it up, but that's only because they didn't cook the chicken all the way through. But hey, the meal was free and we got a round of beer, so that's okay.
That's the only way you can really mess up a chicken burger. Not cooking it enough or cooking it too much.
Exactly. So, moving on from that, Johnny Depp making himself broke. This story came out a couple of weeks ago, and the man who's worth millions thanks to so many different projects, primarily right now being Pirates of the Caribbean, they're making a 5th one now. Yeah.
Interesting.
But he had like a huge bankroll, millions upon millions of dollars. But then that millions upon millions of dollars started to go away very quickly, and so he went and tried to sue his accountants, but then his accountants countersued and claimed that Johnny Depp was just out of control and they could not stop him at all. And there's a breakdown of the things that he spent money on. Now, according to TMG, whatever that is, the talent, TMG is the Mandel Company? That can't be right.
Yeah, maybe. Because it's not TMG that's doing the article or anything. Like, you're like a TMZ. Like, TMG was the management company that he had working for him.
No, okay.
Yeah.
So according to that, Depp spent $75 million to acquire, improve, and furnish 14 residences from around the world. And that's not just like he had a house in Prince George and he had a house in Saskatoon. No, like these are places in Los Angeles and Paris and Kentucky and Hollywood. And
not cheap.
Millions upon millions of dollars on 45 luxury cars. Now, I would not complain, and I could probably do my best to justify owning a first round edition Corvette, a 59 Corvette.
Yeah.
Why not?
But he has 3 cars for every house.
$18 million on a 150-foot luxury yacht. When does he have time to do that? When he's in 14 different houses and driving all those cars.
Different flying on his private jet.
That he rented, costing him $200,000 a month. Owns 70 collectible guitars. Oh yeah, he also has his own recording studio and record label to try to push his music career, which isn't working very well.
Didn't even realize there was one going.
Yeah, well, no one else does. He spent $30,000 a month on wine alone, not like champagne, just wine. Also, many pieces of expensive world-class jewelry, which he's seen. And according to TMG, the actor has spent many millions on rare and expensive Hollywood collectibles from the likes of Marilyn Monroe and Marlon Brando. He also has many items that he needs 12 storage facilities to store them. Oh, yeah, that's out of control.
Why do you need so much stuff?
I don't know.
Like, it just mind-boggling.
Like, a Coke addiction would be cheaper than this.
Probably.
It's just...
You wouldn't have to keep track of it because it wouldn't be all over the world.
No kidding. So, that's a thing. And just, like, you have to think that if it's clearly true, because so many documentation has come out about... well,
it's on the internet.
Exactly. So it must be true if it's on the internet. But you have to think, okay, so Johnny Depp's now got to get himself out of this hole. I wonder how many more spin-offs he can fire out. Yeah,
there's going to be... what do they call it? A trilogy of trilogies like Star Wars, but it's going to be Pirates of the Caribbean. There will be some stinkers.
Yeah. Well, what else is Johnny Depp in? I mean, he's done Edward Scissorhands. He's also done Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory reboot. He's now done 2 Alice in Wonderlands. Mm-hmm. So 5 Pirates of the Caribbean. We might even see him in like some animated stuff. Hell, at this point in time, I wouldn't be surprised to see him in commercials.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, him and Peyton Manning. Every other commercial.
We might actually get to see a Johnny Depp roast at some point in time.
Johnny Depp is selling out.
Hitchhiker tricks man into becoming a getaway driver. Another story that came out a little while ago. I'm not a big fan of going to Fox News, but hey, Fox News sometimes have good stuff. Pennsylvania man who thought he offered a tipsy stranger a ride home from a bar actually served as an unwilling getaway driver for a bank robber, according to reports. The man, identified as in Lancaster Online as Greg Kaiser, offered a lift to Shannon Eric Steckbeck Monday afternoon as the pair had a drink at a bar in Columbia. Steckbeck told Kaiser he was worried about driving after drinking, so Kaiser agreed to drive him to a nearby motel where he was sleeping. On the way there, Steckbeck asked Kaiser to stop at the Union Community Bank. According to Penn Live, it turned out that Steckbeck was making a withdrawal, just as he said, but not an authorized one. While Kaiser waited in the car, an unarmed Steckbeck allegedly demanded the teller to hand over cash and made off with an undisclosed sum. Well, at least he wasn't armed.
Whoops.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like bank tellers are instructed to just, if someone says, this is a stick up, give me your money, they're instructed to just hand over money.
Because it's a lot easier to replace the money than it is the people.
This is true.
And typically they will track down the people that commit these crimes. So you're basically just giving out an interest-free loan. Because the money comes right back to the bank when the guy goes to prison.
Yeah. Now, heaven forbid they use a blue dye bomb or a blue dye pack and he opens that bag because, then everything is ruined. And of course the guy is marked because it's from what I'm told, it's harder than all hell to get that stuff. Like, basically bathe in diesel to get out of that.
Yeah.
It's gross. So, no good deed goes unpunished.
No, apparently not.
What the hell were those two doing? Like, both of them were drinking at a bar, but one of them was, I guess, smart enough to say, is like, you know what, I don't think I can drive. How about you drive?
Or the one that only had a beer or two and figured he was okay. Or the other guy maybe didn't have a vehicle and was just looking for a sucker.
Maybe.
Which he found.
Yeah. Speaking of alcohol and good times and suckers, OTL, how'd you do?
It was all right. We just played the one day of 2. Won 2 and lost 2 games. But the weather was great. There's lots of snow, which was good and bad, because that'll segue into our next topic, I'm sure. But no, the snow and the sunshine were good. A little bit of a wind that could have went away, but if you dressed for it, you're all right. So it was actually an early night for us. We were up early to get out there, and by 11 o'clock, we just decided to go home and go to bed. We'd had enough.
Fair enough.
But fun nonetheless.
OTL is Over the Line. It's an annual fundraiser type tournament where locals, actually not just locals, like people come in from out of town to take part in this, have a good time, and it's basically a hybrid of baseball and
sort of like a stickball almost.
Yeah.
Just sort of, rather than a full baseball field, there's sort of a court, they call it, where there's got the sidelines don't go diagonally out or straight out from the points of the home plate. They go straight up, kind of parallel to the direction you'd be hitting. And it's basically either the ball is caught for an out or it lands for a hit. There's no base running or any of that unnecessary stuff.
Which streamlines the game, but also keep in mind, like, there are dozens of teams out in the middle of this farmer's field. And, I mean, like this most recent tournament, you're in like 2.5 feet of snow. So it's not like, oh, okay, I'll quickly run over there and grab it. No, you're like trucking along, and, you know, don't even think about snowshoes, because you're just going to kill yourself with that.
Yeah.
So
no, it's and when people ask, that have never seen or played it before, what's OTL, it's tough to describe it. It's one of those things where you have to kind of see it or participate in it in order to get it. It's fun, is what I tell people.
And it is a lot of fun. I was fortunate enough to be on your team like a couple of years ago, and it was a blast. Unfortunately, we didn't do very well, but still, it was a lot of fun, and a lot of everyone out there having a good time and great music, and they have snack bars set up, and my goodness, the beer was flowing. So
lots of beer, yeah, food truck, and yeah, it's a chance to see people that sometimes that's the only time I see them all year is OTL. But there's people that take it really seriously. They play in leagues throughout the winter.
Wow.
And so, we never go in there expecting to do big things or end up winning.
You go in there,
show up to have a good time, and I like to do things when I have a beer or two or more, and it's a drinking game for a lot of people, basically. And yeah, just hang out with old friends that you don't see very often.
Which, I mean, what better reason?
Yeah, exactly. It's a social event as much as anything.
So had a good time, and good on you, because I know just for my own personal enjoyment, you took out the team that was representing a local radio station that wasn't mine.
We did, yeah. And it was getting to the point in the day where it was like the South Park Little League episode.
Oh, yeah.
Where teams didn't really want to play anymore and were actually almost kind of hoping to lose. I don't necessarily think that was the case with these guys. I think we just beat them, but yeah, by the end of the day, there were teams that were the team that knocked us out at the end of Saturday. Was actually, I think, disappointed by it because that meant they had to play Sunday morning. So
that's rough.
My apologies to those guys. But what can you do?
Now, the snow that fell, yeah, we'll segue into that. The snow that fell for the OTL tournament was great, but what followed was a bloody disaster, because it's been quite a few years since we've had weather fluctuate as bad as this. It snowed incredible amounts.
It snowed for about 20 hours between Thursday and Friday last week.
Yeah.
And and then it started to warm up to around freezing temperature. Actually, before that, early in the week, it was cold, like minus 30 type cold, minus 20 type cold.
Yeah.
And then it warmed up enough that it started snowing, and then it didn't stop. And then it warmed up to, above zero, above freezing levels.
Which is okay.
Which is, that's fine. Then it warmed up to like 12 degrees above freezing levels.
Yeah.
Which everything melted in a hurry. And we discovered that our yard doesn't really... Well, the yard handles it fine, but the garage doesn't.
No.
A bunch of water got into the garage. And while I was pumping and squeegeeing my way out of that mess, it decided that it was time to start pissing rain. So from the time I got home from work at 2 o'clock on, is that Wednesday afternoon?
It was Wednesday.
Yeah. I was in the garage, in and out of the garage, squeegeeing and pumping till 1 a.m.
Oh, and just to add a little personal touch to it, I was in Jasper at the time with my roommate Brittany, and her and I were like, we just finished breakfast. I think we just finished brunch. It was a late breakfast because we were hungover. Damn it, Brittany, you and your drinking game. Anyway, hungover, just finished brunch, and I get a text message from you, dude, and going this long spiel like, sorry, I didn't think this was ever going to happen. A shitty way to figure out that the garage is flooding, and it just happens to be flooding where I told you to put all your personal belongings. Saturday, everything got moved in there. Yep.
And by Wednesday, everything was soaked. Oh, God. I think we got it figured out now. It's pretty dry in there. That heater's been going since Thursday. Yeah. Or since Wednesday night.
But like Brittany, like I'm reading a text message and Brittany's like sitting across the table from me. We're both hungover, but she's looking at me going, oh my God, what's wrong? Like looking at me going, did someone die? Like, no. I think my shit is underwater. And I let her read a text message. But at the time, like I'm in Jasper, I'm in Alberta. I'm not even in the same province. So like, I'm like, what do I do? Like, there's nothing for me to do. So I wanted information, and I was like, I want to know, like, what about the bed? What about my collectibles? And what about this? And what about that? But at that point in time, it's a moot point, because if I'm bugging you, then you're busy texting me when you're actually doing your best to just try to,
find higher ground.
Exactly. So I think like the last text message I gave you was like, do what you got to do. Give me a sit rep later, and I left it. Yeah.
Once I got it under control and everything kind of onto drier ground and was starting to move stuff into boxes, I figured I'd give you a call and let you know what's going on. But yeah, it was not something that I ever really had a plan for. But now that I know what can happen, in the future I know how I'm going to either prevent it or fix it. Right away. No, it wasn't just you though. It was like the reports were coming in all over the province. Like, and first of all, Vancouver was having issues because they were having insane amount of snow and ice and then a ridiculous amount of rain. Exactly. So that made things really bad, and they were having issues with flooding. And then here in Prince George, like the same thing. We just weren't prepared for. We're prepared for snow, but when it snowed as much as it did for, like you said, 20 hours straight, nonstop, and then boom, it warmed up without any warning to plus 12 degrees Celsius. Like basements and gutters and drainage ditches were just not prepared. Everything was just drowning. Yeah, really. You see all kinds of pictures from around town of storm drains that are plugged up, so there's water all over the streets. The guys at hockey were saying that there wasn't a pump to be found in this town. Yeah. People were trying to get their basements pumped out or whatever was flooding on them. Well, you had one already, and I had one from the old house, and I managed to borrow one from Mom's house. Yeah. And that actually was a huge help getting that second pump going. Yeah, no because kidding. I had water inside and outside that I had to get rid of. Cool. But like, I appreciate you doing what you did, and like of all the places for the water to come in, it happened to be where my stuff was. Yeah, I just cleared that corner out for you. Put all your stuff there; it should be good. So, oh well. Oh, well.
Yeah,
Now we know.
Now we know. But amongst that, like while that was happening, and like I said, I was in Alberta. I was in Jasper with my roommate and had a good time and figured out with a 1 hour lesson that I know how to ski. I can get myself down a hill that, not without tumbling a couple times, but still, like I can move back and forth, and I know how to brake, and I know how to plow, and I know how to control myself. I can go down a couple of green runs, and it's a lot of fun. I think I found myself a really expensive new hobby.
Yeah,
it was cool. It's kind of neat too. It was something that I shared with Brittany afterward because I was giggling to myself. That I think like sometimes you see omens or signs like, I should be here. I should be doing this. Mm-hmm. My lucky number, as long as I can remember, has always been number 66. Like my dad owns a 66 Chevelle. My weight category in wrestling was 66 kilos. My jersey for football, I didn't even have a choice. They just threw the number 66 at me, right? Anyway, so there's other examples of that throughout my life. And lo and behold, the first time we're going up the gondola or the ski lift to do our first run down a ski hill with Brittany to my left and the instructor to my right, I look up and I see that the seat in front of me says 65, and then the seat in front of that says 64. I'm like, no kidding. So I look up, and sure enough, I'm on seat 66. Not planned.
Just
happened. So I had a great time.
Good. Yeah, I've only skied a couple times in my life. Last time was grade 12, which was half a lifetime ago, but it was fun. Mm-hmm. Or no, it was grade 11 actually. But yeah, it was fun. Mm-hmm. And yeah, same thing. Picked it up really quick and enjoyed it, but just never really got into it enough to, like, if I had a chance to go again, I would do it. But it's just getting ready and going to the hill, I think, is the biggest stumbling block for me.
Yeah.
As it is with a lot of things. Like I will do stuff. Mm-hmm. It's just starting to do stuff is the issue. Not much of a starter, I guess.
Well, there is a saying that the hardest part of working out is going to the gym. You got to make yourself get there. Then once you get there, you're like, okay, now I'm here. I'm dedicated. I'm in this situation. Now I can actually move forward. But the most difficult part is getting your butt off of the couch going, I'm another episode on Netflix. Come on, just one more. But once you get to the gym, then you're set, right? Yeah.
Apparently. I don't know.
So, I got nothing else other than the fact that the wonderful people at Warner Brothers keep sending me incredible information about a game that is coming out. Are you much into fighting video games like Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, anything of the sort?
No, not particularly, and that may be just because I had other interests, more in the sports games, and starting to recently get into more storyline driven type things. Mm. But just never really took much in that direction. Mm.
I've never been into fighting games. Like go to the arcade and like throw a quarter into a Street Fighter game or Pit Fighter or Mortal Kombat or whatever, and like I get like maybe 2-3 matches in, and then I get my ass handed to me. So never been much into it. But a couple of years ago, the people behind Injustice released, or people at what's the company? Warner Brothers, as well as NetherRealm Studio, released Injustice. It's a DC character-based fighting game, hand-to-hand combat type game. It's the same people who do Mortal Kombat, or at least the most recent versions of Mortal Kombat. Now they're coming out with Injustice 2. They send me all this wonderful information, and the new roster is including are like the favorites from the last, like Robin and Green Arrow, Green Lantern, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, but now they're adding like the Black Canary and Supergirl, as well as the Red Lantern and Swamp Thing and so many different characters. And like I said, I've never been much into fighting games, but when Injustice 1 came out, I couldn't put it down. In fact, I still have it on my PlayStation 4. And now Injustice 2 is coming out. And it's looking like a lot of fun. I'm going to see if I can bring this up right now. It's only a couple minutes.
All right.
That's a Black Canary, and the Black Canary is...
Well, I was totally expecting something different.
The Black Canary is a character most notably partnered with the Green Arrow. And right here, she's fighting Deathstroke.
As a judo expert, Black Canary has many holds and
So this video is a tutorial with, or basically like a showcase. Exactly.
Her move, Hard Lock, will punish foes who are
And
done with another
the setting, whatever, this asylum. Is that what it is?
It's Arkham Asylum, yeah.
Is that in the first Injustice, or is this showing that we have a new place to...
In the first Injustice was you were inside Arkham Asylum, and there was 3 different levels of that, but there was no fight arena in front of Arkham Asylum. So, and we're gonna leave the front of Arkham Asylum. This is something else that's with Injustice 2, is with a well-timed hit at an edge of the screen, a specific edge of the screen, you could actually fight at a different setting.
Canary's character power is an ear-shattering canary cry.
So you're not just smashing the same buttons and doing the same moves in the same place all the time.
Exactly. This is Black Canary's finishing move, apparently. She has this sonic scream. Depending on what universe, it's a technique that she learnt, or it's a form of tech that she has.
I could see some feminists losing their shit over that.
So there you go. And of course, it's coming out with different editions. The deluxe edition you see over there on the left is actually that's Supergirl. Yeah.
Yeah, they do tend to do the standard edition for most people, and then the uber nerds that will get the deluxe and super deluxe.
Yep.
Because you get a couple extra bonus add-ons. It's the same game.
Mm-hmm.
It's just packaged up with whatever.
It's packaged up with exclusive downloads, but they're not exclusive because depending on how long you're willing to wait, there's a good chance that those quote-unquote exclusive downloads will be available to you, but you got to pay extra for it. For me, like I don't always go for a pre-order, and especially the deluxe pre-order, because that shit's expensive. Mm-hmm. But if there's something like if it's a series that I really enjoy, like Injustice, I got the big box, and it came with an exclusive comic book that gave you backstory as to the storyline of the video game.
I remember that box. It's dry, actually.
Thank you.
It was on high ground to begin with. But carry on.
But it also has this incredible statue, exclusive and inspired by the game, or it's a fight scene, a fight pose, I guess, between Batman and Superman, right? And it came with the game. So like I bought that. Like it's really just a hunk of plastic, but it's a cool thing to look at, right? Mm-hmm. And it goes with the rest of my collectibles. Anyway, so like, what'd you think of that? Like, honestly,
it was like the actual. It looked smooth. Mm-hmm. Like the gameplay was smooth. Like I'm dating myself when I can't think of a better word than graphics.
No, graphics.
Just the way that it looked. Like it looks like it's well polished.
Mm-hmm.
And we only saw
the Black Canary.
The Black Canary. I wanted to say something Raven. I'm terrible at these things.
No, right universe, right characters. Raven is in that universe.
And I'm not even aware of that. Blackbird. We only saw those two characters fighting in that one place. But if the others are as well built,
rendered,
and and it may be something to try out.
Well, maybe sometime in the near future, we'll kick each other's ass on Injustice 1 on the PlayStation. I can show you what about, because like I said, like I've never been much for Mortal Kombat, and I've certainly never been much for any other fighter games. But I mean, they got Kevin Conroy to come back and be the voice of Batman, and Kevin Conroy is the iconic Batman animated voice actor. So he is in the Injustice Batman. He's in Injustice as Batman. So that right there is, like, for me, worth the price of admission.
I think an Adam West Easter egg Batman would be something.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Would be pretty sweet.
I seriously wouldn't be surprised.
I would pick that character just for the cheesiness.
The Bat 2C that would pop up every once in a while. I'm looking forward to it, and it's looking very exciting, especially with the new roster that's coming out. I'd be interested just to play Swamp Thing and see what that's all about.
Yeah,
honestly.
try the new guys that you don't have in the original one and see what they have managed to do with them, or even some of the original characters from the first game. See if they've made them any better or different or worse, even.
Exactly. So, I got nothing else. We've been talking for pretty close, just over an hour.
Yeah, we're doing all right.
So this is, again, the Flipside radio show, which is now a podcast. We're going to do our best to try to make this as consistent as possible. And also, it's not always going to be in your basement. Sometimes it'll be up at the official studio back in town. Sometimes in the near future, it might be at my new place, wherever that may be. I'm looking for an apartment, 2-bedroom, somewhere under $950.
Anyone has anything available?
Radio personality. I still enjoy doing the Flip Side, and it's just fun to shoot the shit about things that happened. And the more consistent we get, once we become more consistent, then the material will start to flow again, because we'll always be up to date. And
for sure. And I mean, it's good for me, because anyone that knows me knows that I like to just talk about whatever or nothing. Like I'm a walking Seinfeld episode sometimes. My wife she hears my stories more than once, and she tells me that she's heard it more than once, and basically shuts it down. The guys at work haven't started shutting me down yet, but I can tell when I've told the same guys the same story. So it's good to have a different audience to repeat myself to.
And of course, if you really, really, really wanted to, you can always just re-listen to this either on the podcast, be it SoundCloud, TheMediaJack.blogspot.ca, or the video, where, of course, it will be posted on YouTube, and that's the one place where you can see the video that we witnessed about the Black Canary and her action against Deathstroke. So,
and I think we're going to try and do what would you call that? The other content that you put onto your site.
Let's Play.
Yeah, Let's Play. I'm going to try and get a little more involved in that. I don't know what you have for an audience following that plays the sports type games, but that's kind of my thing.
You know what? It's a wonderful thing about the content is that we just throw it out there, see what happens.
See who listens, watches,
exactly,
participates,
exactly,
comments, calls me a meathead.
If anything, that we could just watch it over and over again. It's like, remember that time? Man, you threw me through the glass. You hit me in the boards. That was funny. Let's watch it again. Anyway. Yeah, we can totally do a whole bunch of Let's Play. I'm totally set up for that. And you've seen my library. My God, I have so many video games. I need an excuse to play them.
Might as well.
I
found Blades of Steel unharmed in the flood.
Awesome.
Where I put it, I don't know. But it's in a box. And I was almost going to keep it out, but then I was like, no, I'll keep it out, and then I'll end up losing it, and then I'll feel like an ass.
Well, I appreciate that. All right, we're going to wrap it up for this.
Sounds good.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
This has been The Flipside, episode 398. We're getting closer and closer to episode 400. Don't know if that cake and tampons is going to happen, but we'll see what happens. We might have, butter tarts.
That'll work.
You can follow me on Twitter at TheMediaJack.
And I'm at Ryan Miles 66.
And you can listen to this either at TheMediaJack.blogspot.ca or on SoundCloud or on iTunes, or by all means, watch it on YouTube. And you can catch us next time.